Doncaster Rovers have won 4 out of the last 5 home games. Bradford City have only won 1 out of their last 4 or 5 away games. The form book says Rovers are going to win this game, but we all know in football the form book isn't the be all and end all. It's Doncaster Rovers hosting Bradford City at the EcoPower Stadium in Sky Bet League 2 action this weekend. Let's have a deeper look into both of these sides, and let's have a look at exactly what's been going down in the past few games leading up to this weekend's match. Bradford City in their last game suffered defeat at the hands of Barrow at Valley Parade. Before then it was 2 wins on the bounce from Tranmere and Stevenage. Before that it was a draw against Mansfield and a draw against Stockport. So winning 2 out of their last 5 is decent form, but coming off a defeat, Bradford will want to bounce back to winning ways. Doncaster Rovers won 3 on the bounce before a defeat to Sutton United. So going into this game, a defeat and a defeat with 3 wins sandwiched in between is definitely not amazing form. I guess you can call Doncaster Rovers consistently inconsistent. I think that's the best way to describe Doncaster Rovers. So we've got Bradford City, who are looking to get back from defeat the previous weekend, versus a Doncaster Rovers team at home who are stronger than Bradford away from home, that are consistently inconsistent. Now, of course, both these sides are mathematically still in the playoff hunt. However, I think we can realistically both sit here, and even though the playoffs aren't that far away and it's going to be tight until the end of the season, there isn't 100% confidence that both Bradford and Doncaster could reach the playoffs. It's going to take a huge consistent run of form to take them into the top 7. Of course, there is always that hope that we can do it, and that Bradford fans hope that they can do it. However, we're not 100% sure that we'll be able to make it. It's all about the consistency of these teams. Can Mark Hughes and Danny Schofield get consistency into those teams from now right up until the end of the season on the 8th of May. So talking about the injuries for the game, Lewis Jones we know will be out for 8 weeks because of a collision in training. Ben Bottomley has a hand/finger injury, but it's unsure exactly how long he will be out. Tom Anderson is missing till at least the Stockport County game after a foot issue. Roshan Williams is set to be returning to availability for this game after suffering a minor injury which has kept him out of the last game. Oliver Younger has been out for the majority of the season, and that is set to continue. Adam Long is returning to availability after injury in previous games. John Taylor is out for the rest of the season through injury. A huge miss for an experienced winger. Rio is slowly but surely returning to the field, but unsure whether he'll be available for selection or not. Kieran Agard has a minor illness and will not be available for selection for this particular match. In goal I've gone with Jonathan Mitchell. He kept 3 clean sheets in a row before the 2-0 defeat. Can this game help recover the 28-year-old's form? Going into the defensive back line, I've gone with Adam Long at left centre back. I've decided to go with Adam Long because he's returning from injury, and I feel like Rowe isn't best suited in the centre of defence. I feel he can use his legs in the midfield rather than the back 3, even though he can play in that position. So I think that Adam Long, with his wide centre-back qualities in the left-hand side of a back 3, will be well adjusted in this defensive setup. In the middle of the back 3, I've gone with Ben Nelson once again. Now, despite the 2-0 defeat, Ben Nelson had qualities about him during the performance, as did Joseph Olowu on the right-hand side. And I think that both Ben Nelson and Joseph Olowu keeping their place will get their confidence back up and running against a high-flying Bradford and keep them grounded for a weekend. In the centre of midfield, I've gone with the starters from the previous game, Ben Close on the left-hand side and Charlie Lakin on the right-hand side. Now, I've gone with Lakin and Close because I feel like when Biggins came on in the second half against Sutton United after his return from injury, I don't think it was an overall fantastic performance from Biggins off the bench. So I think Close and Lakin haven't done enough wrong, and there's no one else in the squad at the minute in the midfield that's done enough right to try and topple them away from the starting lineup. And at the end of the day, it's about competition for places. In the wing-back roles, I've gone with James Maxwell on the left and James Brown on the right. Both of them have had solid performances, especially in the last few games, and I think that both of them are really developing under Danny Schofield's system. And again, the same situation as the midfield. both of them have not been toppled by any competition for places. Now, a slightly altered attack from the previous game, I've decided to go with an attacking midfielder and 2 strikers. So in the attacking midfield position, I've gone with Kyle Hurst. I think Luke Molyneux hasn't been overall incredible, and I think that just him coming onto the bench to then come on with some fresh legs in the second half could add some energy into the attack when Kyle Hurst tries to run the Bradford defence ragged in the first half and some of the second half. Up front, then I've gone with Miller and Lavery. Miller's goal drought is now 12 or 13 games, and obviously that kind of goal drought warrants a striker being dropped. However, I think if you play Miller alongside Kyle and Lavery, I feel you can not only add width to your attack with Hurst being the attacker behind in the central attacking midfield role, I feel like Miller and Lavery adds different traits to each other. I think Lavery adds hold-up play and strength, while Miller adds hard work, pressing abilities, on the front foot, always running, always energetic. So I think different traits, but both of them work in collaboration with each other stupendously. And I think we've seen the potential of this partnership throughout the season since Lavery's come in the January transfer window. So my prediction for this game is a very, very simple one. I've gone for a 1-1 draw. Doncaster Rovers Football Club have definitely been on the trajectory on the 3 wins on the bounce and 3 clean sheets on the bounce. However, with Bradford coming in with 4,000 travelling fans, a packed out away end, and also that ability to bounce back after the Barrow defeat, I think that Mark Hughes could definitely, absolutely be within a chance to get something out of this game. And the fact that we haven't drawn for a while does suggest that a draw could be on the cards in the future. Now, I've seen other predictions around social media like 2-1, 2-2, 1-1, 1-0, even a 0-0 somewhere. However, I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw, as I feel like both sides earning a point from this game would be the right result. And I think for Doncaster Rovers Football Club, it's going to be very, very simple, really. If we cannot win the game, we've got no other option. Don't lose the game. If we're in the last minute of added time and we are 0-0 or 1-1 or 1-0 up, hold on to it, grasp it. All about game management for me. And I feel like with Danny Schofield and his team, that's what it's all about. Game management, keeping the run consistent, keeping the style of play consistent, and also really matching up with Bradford in terms of energy, hard work, attacking prowess, defensive solidarity, and also that quick and effective distribution from the back. And I think that it's going to be very interesting to see what happens going into this game at Valley Parade. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens in this game at the Eco Power Stadium. Now, overall then, I think Doncaster Rovers are definitely looking like the form team going into this game. When you look at the form, 3 wins on the bounce, sandwiched in between 2 defeats either side in the last 5 games for Doncaster Rovers. And I think that Bradford City having that 1 loss, and of course the couple of wins in the last 5 games, but also a couple of draws as well, it's been very inconsistent for both teams. When you look back further than the last 5 games, especially with Doncaster Rovers, when you look at 3 defeats, then 3 wins, and then back to a defeat again, consistently inconsistent pretty much describes our season. And I think that Doncaster Rovers are going to get anything out of this season, even a top 10 finish, is to get that consistency back up and running on a regular basis, week in and week out. Have we got the squad depth to do it? Have we got the talent to do it this season? Have we got the mindset this season? And that's the biggest test for Danny Schofield and his players. Now, in terms of the match day itself, it's going to be a very interesting scenario, not only because of 4,000 Bradford City fans travelling down to the Eco Power Stadium, but also the fact that the day of the Bradford City game this weekend is also the day that the fans are scheduled to protest against the club's ownership. Now, the ownership is a very interesting tale. It's a very much a once upon a time story where the ownership have done some stuff right in the community and making the community projects and keeping the club debt free, or as debt free as possible. However, in football, I don't believe it's the be-all and end-all, and I think there is a fine line that you have to strike as a football owner between ambition and sustainability. And I think that for me personally with Doncaster Rovers Football Club, I don't think it's been completely down the middle 50-50. I feel like sustainability has completely outswung the ambition at the moment in terms of the ownership meter. And I think that that's where the anger of the fans is coming. Now, as a presenter, As a Rovers fan, I have my own views, but as a presenter, seeing this from an impartial point of view on this video, in this particular video, I see it from both sides. I see both sides of the argument. On the one hand, they've kept the club debt free, and not many clubs can say that. And I think that also on this case, they've also, done great work in the community, making sure the locals are involved, keeping it a nice family club. And we need family clubs in English football. We need more family clubs. However, and this is a big however, there is that balance between sustainability and ambition. And the Rovers fans feel like the ambition hasn't been matched over the last few years. Now, there are certain factors in these decisions, the chopping and changing of managers for whatever reasons, such as budget, financial restraints, other job offers, walking away. All these different factors from previous managers and players as well represent a huge turnover of staff and players over the last couple of seasons, and it's represent no stability on the pitch for Doncaster Rovers in the last couple of years. Now, to rectify this, Schofield and Coppinger presented that plan to the Meet the Owners event, and they do have a plan. Whether the ownership fully backs that plan is obviously for the fans to find out. However, some fans really do not trust the ownership and are not giving them any time at all to trust the process. I feel like I can see both sides to it. On the one hand, Coppinger and Schofield have a plan that I can get behind as a fan. However, I think that there is that sort of question mark over whether that will be backed financially with the ownership of the football club. So the fans' protest can be very interesting to see how many fans protest against the owners and how the protests end up turning out in terms of the other fans, the fans that are not bored out and the fans that are against the protests. Now, speaking to one Doncaster Rovers fan on the away trips, their idea was to protest at the end of the game, wait until full time and bring out the flags and banners, so in that way the team and the players and the staff are unaffected, so the full focus of the message is directed to the ownership. I do agree with that. I think that's definitely a way to do it. Of course, from the fans' point of view that are going to be protesting, I can also see it from their point of view about protesting before the match as well, to make their feelings known and then get behind the team for 90 minutes, as most fans always do every week. So I think it's going to be a very interesting atmosphere going into the game. I think that Bradford and Doncaster have got something to lose here and also something to prove, which is why a 1-1 draw could be a fair result. So thank you very much, guys, for watching this match preview. I hope you do like this style of preview. Make sure you do like, comment, subscribe. We are on the verge of 2,000 subscribers and 500,000 views. We do theme parks and sport content. There'll be plenty more coming on the channel throughout the year, so please do stay tuned. And for now, I'm the CHALL. Ta-ra for now.